Welcome back to the Ghost in the Machine, and today we're getting into the Get 'em preseason rankings. The NFL kicks off September 5th, and there's still time to maximize your money before the opening kickoff. The coach has been running the sims and comparing lines non-stop to provide you with the complete breakdown and projections of each of our top 5 guys by position for the season. For tight ends, these are our top 5 guys. At number 5, Mark Andrews. At number 4, we've got Jake Ferguson. At number 3 is Trey McBride. At number 2 is Sam Laporta. And at number 1, we've got Travis Kelce.
The tight end rankings haven't moved enormously recently, as we have a two-headed snake at the top of draft boards in Kelce and Laporta, who substantially outproject anyone else at the position. The conversation about tight ends is almost philosophical this season, as we have seen tight ends massively overperform 2 years ago, pushing them all the way up draft boards last year, only to massively underperform and disappoint a lot of fantasy owners. The position has been historically weak and touchdown dependent, but tides have changed, and it seems that there may be as many as 12 tight ends who are projecting for substantial target shares on their teams.
Of course, we have to draft within the context of the rest of the draft, but these top 2 guys are so far ahead. Should we be reaching up to target them, or are you still fading the tight end to a later round?
For me, it's going to completely depend on the context of the team that I am trying to draft. Kelce currently has an ADP of 23.5 and Laporta has an ADP of 31.7. That is a place that if my league wasn't too big, I would feel completely comfortable taking them if I was in an 8, 10, or even 12 team league, taking them in the second or third round. If I'm in a 14 or 16 team league, I'm going to really struggle with them at their ADP because Laporta probably shouldn't be a second round pick if you're building your roster out the way that it needs to be built out, away from 1Z positions and filling out the running backs and the wide receivers in the way that you're going to want to, especially in an environment where Kincaid and Pitts and Njoku and Bowers and tons of other tight ends are available. Again, there are roughly 12 tight ends with good projectable volume. And if we can get one of those in an enormous league, then we're happy. But in a smaller league, reaching up for Kelce in the third or Laporta in the fourth, I feel no way about. And especially if I have Mahomes on my team, I would love to stack him with Kelce at that point in the draft.
So, of course, we've got to talk about Kyle Pitts. He's one of our favorite players since he's entered the league. And I know you're much more optimistic about Pitts this year with a real-life quarterback. How does the Penix Jr. versus Cousins battle, as well as the explosive projections of Bijan, affect Pitts' opportunities this year?
Based on what I have heard out of Falcons camp this year, there really isn't a battle between Cousins and Penix Jr. It is Cousins' job to lose, and he would have to do a lot after the season started to lose it. They're paying him so much money for a couple of years in Atlanta. I think that when they drafted Penix Jr., they thought he was not ready, and some time under Cousins would help get him set to be their quarterback of the future. But this is Cousins' job this year. The explosive projections of Bijan, we have Bijan as a top 2 running back, but Cousins will do work through the air. And yes, a lot of that work is likely going to go through Drake London. Outside of London, Pitts, and Bijan, they don't have a ton in terms of offensive depth, especially after already losing Rondale Moore in camp this year. And so this is going to be a situation where 2 or potentially all 3 of these guys can coexist as very legitimate fantasy players, with Bijan, again, completely in this top tier of running back with McCaffrey and Hall. Even if he separates above those guys, there will be work through the air left for the guys in Atlanta.
So Kittle and Andrews are back up battling for a top 5 position. With young guys all around them, what is it about these 2 vets that gives them the edge on the youth movement we're seeing at tight end?
While the youth movement at tight end is absolutely real, especially with the addition of Brock Bowers in Las Vegas this year, Kittle and Andrews are both still in the conversation in the top 5, but it's for very individual and specific reasons. For Kittle, it's because he's still an integral piece of the 49ers offense, an offense that we want to grab any integral piece of that we possibly can, whether that be CMC, Debo, Ayuk, or Kittle. Kittle is going to disappoint you some weeks. You're going to have a lot of 3 for 24 and 0 touchdown games, but you're also going to have a couple of week winning performances from George Kittle. And given the uncertainty of some of the guys below him at the position, not that there isn't projectable volume, but just questions about how much that is, or quarterback play, or whatever it be, Kittle is somebody that we at least have a very good idea of what we are getting. And part of what we are getting is these enormous ceiling games. For Andrews, it's again, we want to buy the Baltimore offense, and he remains a bigger part of the Baltimore offense than Kittle is in San Francisco. Zay Flowers is also in Baltimore now, and obviously Lamar Jackson runs things very differently than Brock Purdy. But Andrews has been their target in the red zone for years, and there doesn't seem to be any reason to think that's going to be different. Even if Isaiah Likely emerges, a bunch of reports out of camp are saying that they're just going to run 2 tight end sets an enormous amount of the time to compensate for their lack of receivers. Andrews and Likely can both eat. Andrews and Derrick Henry can both eat in this offense, and Andrews will be featured as long as he is able to stay on the field this year.
Join us next time for our next rankings breakdown so you can be completely prepared for your fantasy, best ball, or DFS draft as the season comes closer to kicking off. We'll be updating these rankings daily, so come join our Discord where you'll never miss a bet. Until next time, the bets are out there. Go get 'em.
All content on our channel is for discussion, entertainment, and illustrative purposes only and should not be considered professional financial advice, solicitation, or recommendation. Past performance does not guarantee future results.